Hi everyone, welcome back. So today we have another South African brand. I love trying different brands in different countries. Honestly, it's my favorite. But today we have a brand called Smudge. It is only available at Clicks. I don't actually have an official website, but I saw the whole display and I was quite curious. So I got a bunch of goodies, not a full face, but without further ado, let's get this on our face. Starting off strong, let's go in with primer. This is the correcting and pore blurring primer. It is also available in a brightening version. The directions are to smooth over moisturized skin to blur your pores and improve the appearance of the skin. It does feel slightly silicone-y, however the first ingredient is actually water. So let's see what this can do for our face. It is like a weird color as you saw, as you can see, and the consistency is that of a silicone based primer. However, silicone isn't the first on the list, so I'm assuming it should be okay. So it's supposed to be moisturizing. It does have a silicone slip to it. I have no idea why it's correcting. I think that's because it's like got a yellow tinge to it, but not entirely sure. I can't see a huge difference in my pores. It has slightly blurred my skin, but not minimized my pores, in my opinion. So for the primer, I'll have to use it a couple more times and we're going to have to give it a second to dry down. But so far it does feel very, very silicone-y. Even though, like I said, silicone is quite low down. It's about the third or fourth ingredient on here, so I'm not sure where this slip is coming from, but hopefully it will dry down. Next we're going to move on to eyebrows. So for eyebrows, I got the Smudge Brow Micro Pen in dark brown. It is supposed to be a medium brown, creates realistic hair-like strokes that blend seamlessly with your real hairs. It is a must-have in your brow kit for amazing brows. So as you can see, it does do hair-like strokes. I do not like these little fork micro pens, as they call them. It just doesn't draw very well once you've already stuck down your brows like I have. I just used my Essence brow soap, so let's go ahead and use this. I just need a mirror for this so I can see. I didn't get medium brown, I got dark brown, but this isn't working that well, if I'm being honest. It's not showing up as much as I would like it to, and it has like a warm undertone. So that is my eye I've done, and that is without. I really don't like this very much, to be honest, but let's go ahead and do the other brow. It seems as if it's like dried up already. Maybe it's the reaction with the brow soap, so maybe I should attempt doing this first and then going over with a brow gel maybe, but that's not how I prefer to do my eyebrows. I would skip out on this. Definitely. I think it was 50 Rand, but definitely not worth it. Okay, as for the primer, we've left it for about a minute. It hasn't fully dried down, but it does feel like a moisturizer now on my skin. So it hasn't fully, like, it's not tacky, but it doesn't have that full slip anymore, but it does feel like I just put on a thick moisturizer. Moving on to foundation, I got this little thing. The color is pretty much completely off, but it's the only color I found that would match my skin. Their color range is not amazing. The shade I got is in caramel, and this is supposed to be a flawless, lightweight, full coverage foundation. It gives you full coverage without weighing your face down. Blended to perfection for a flawless complexion that will serve as the perfect base for your other makeup. So very bold claims if you ask me. When I did touch it earlier on my hand, as you saw in the B-roll, it oxidized almost immediately. So this is definitely not going to be my shade, but hopefully we can lighten it up with some concealer. So just grabbing a foundation brush, I'm going to do the one side of my face first. I took quite a bit. It comes out really fast, like really like a huge amount. While I was doing the B-roll, a big blob came out and I had to actually redo it. But let's go ahead and apply this onto the skin. Oh, as you can see, that is definitely not my shade. It has almost like a red undertone. The finish is quite nice, I'm not gonna lie, but it does just look like I went for a run and my face is quite red. Also, it doesn't really go a long way. I had a big blob there and it only covered that much of my face. Okay, that time I took way too much. So I guess we'll just build it up. It smells like paint. Once again, as we've noticed that most affordable makeup tends to smell like paint. Okay. This looks very tribal, like I put mud on my face. Look, you can see the line over there and it's oxidizing. So that just means it's mixing with the oxygen and changing color. So that's what it is looking like. But the finish is really nice. I really like it. It is supposed to be a natural finish, which I think is correct. So don't look at the color, but just look at the finish. Looks really good. So I'm going to go ahead and just use the brush on the other side again. So I'm just going to speed through this. Yeah, this is 100% not the correct shade. Look at me! Anyway, I'd say that it is very glowy. Actually, it's not. It's just slightly more glowier than I would think a natural finish is, but I really do like the finish. It doesn't look terrible on the skin, besides the color, of course, but yeah, I think that looks really good in my humble opinion and for my first impression. Now I'm just taking my damp beauty blender and I'm just going to pat this over the whole face just to pick up any excess product there might have been, like some buildup or whatever, but just to smooth everything out and push it into the skin as well. For concealer, I got this one and it is the Perfecting Concealer in the shade Sand Beige. And beige, why did I say that so weirdly? But the description is it offers a long-lasting buildable coverage in a creamy formula that blurs and covers blemishes, leaving skin luminous. So I love me a luminous concealer, honestly, because my under eyes are so dry, but the consistency honestly doesn't look that luminous. But let's have a go at this. I'm going to add it in more places than usual because the foundation is so dark. So under the eyes, I probably shouldn't put it everywhere now. Let's just start with the under eyes. I'm putting quite a bit on because, like I said, the foundation is so dark. So I'm just going to blend that out with my sponge. So starting with the under eyes, just in case that it does what that Palladio one does, which is absolutely crack up on your face. Okay, so that's one eye blended out. That looks really nice. Wow. And this is actually really affordable as well, like much more affordable than the Maybelline Fit Me one was. And that one is a little bit more drier than this is. Yes, I really like that. And it's lightened up the skin quite a bit. So I'm going to add it also in my smile lines, down the center of the nose, forehead and chin. It seems quite thick, but it actually is really creamy. So just down the center, just to brighten things up slightly. So this is the concealer on my eyes. I mean, I do have crepey under eyes, but still I think the luminosity looks really nice and it's quite smooth compared to the drier formulas that I sometimes use. That's also lightened up the face quite a bit, so don't look so crazy. When we go in with bronzer, I'm not sure what's gonna happen. Next, for powder, we have this Banana Loose Powder, and the description is it's ideal for banishing shine, brightening and balancing skin tone, and prolonging the wear of makeup. Perfect for achieving a luminous, silky, and even finish. So that's confusing for me because if it's banishing shine, how is it going to be luminous? It's kind of like contradicting itself, but let's have a go at this and see what we can achieve. So it just has a normal sieve over there. It's kind of like the Makeup Revolution one. I'm sure there was another one that Makeup Revolution copied because they do just copy a lot of people. The lid is really small, so I can't really throw it out in the lid. So I'm gonna just find something, just gonna use the top of this and I'm gonna pour some out on there. And then I'm just gonna use a powder puff to go in under my eyes. I'm going to just dab some of that on like that, and then just dab it out on my hand just to evenly distribute the powder on the puff. Then I'm just going to pat out these lines under my eyes and just going to press that banana powder in. Oh no. It's cracking. Oh my gosh, this looks horrible. I didn't like the Makeup Revolution baking powder either. I don't really bake though. I put way too much on there. I panic. First impressions. My skin is really tacky. So the foundation didn't dry down, and nor does the concealer. So it feels like the powder is just sticking to that, and it is way too heavy for my under eyes. Let me zoom you in. It looks freaking horrible. Oh my goodness, no. Okay, I'm just gonna grab like a loose powder brush like this, pick some of that powder up. Then I'm just going to pat it in my hand just for any excess powder, and then I'm gonna go ahead and set the rest of my face like that, just patting, because if you swipe this before the powder's on, it's just gonna stick into random places because it is so tacky. While I'm putting this on my face, I can feel the tackiness, and it's kind of like pulling on the brush. So what I'm doing is I'm just putting this all over the face, and then I'm gonna dust everything off afterwards. I look crazy, and I think the powder just ruined everything. That did lighten up the foundation quite a bit, but honestly, the texture of this powder I think is slightly too finely milled. So let's do a flashback test quickly. It does have a slight cast, as you can see, but nothing too terrible. I've seen worse, but it's weird. It's just left my face looking kind of white, like a really bad translucent powder. So this review is not going as well as I thought it might. Like, I was really excited. I always am when I find like proudly South African products and affordable products, and it looks really good. Like, even the packaging isn't that bad. It's like so close to what Makeup Revolution is in the UK, but so far I'm quite disappointed with almost everything I got. Like, I don't know, I just expected a bit more. But anyway, moving on to the fixing spray. I just want to moisten up my face again because the powder is quite drying. It doesn't look terrible all over the face, but it definitely looks horrendous under my eyes. So I'm going to go ahead and use this. And this is the Glow Fixing Spray, and as you can see, I don't know if you could see in the B-roll, but there is some shimmer in it. So it is supposed to be an ultra light formulation that mattifies and conditions your skin while gently fixing your makeup for a polished, long-lasting look. So I don't know how it mattifies because there is glitter in it, and I did mist it in when I was doing the B-roll footage, and it smells like alcohol once again. The first ingredient is water, and the second one is alcohol denat, which can really dry out your skin. So I'm just going to prime the spritzer, and then we're going to go ahead and mist the face. The spritzer is quite sporadic, so it doesn't come out in like an even mist. But let's give this a second. The alcohol is strong. Give this a second to dry down. Okay, now that it's partially dried down, I'm just going to take my beauty blender and again just push everything into the skin. Now you can see a really nice glow from that, but I'm going to have a closer look to see if there's any like little shimmers in here. There is like microfine glitters, but it doesn't look terrible. It actually looks quite nice and gives the skin like a very nice glow. Hopefully it's not too sticky and we can still go ahead and use our bronzer. Which takes us to the next product, which is this bronzer. It's actually not a bronzer, it is actually a finishing powder, but I just got a deeper color so that we could use it as a bronzer because I didn't really want to buy like a trio because they had like a blush, bronzer and highlighter trio, and I really don't like those because usually the colors don't really go well together, so I just got a deeper shade to use as a bronzer. But this is their pressed powder matte finish in almond, and it's meant to lock in your foundation with a warm brown shade and also perfect skin texture for a silky smooth poreless finish. So this is like a pressed foundation or a powder foundation, but we're going to use it as a bronzer today. So I'm quite scared, so I'm going to use quite a fluffy brush for this, and that's what it looks like inside. It does feel fairly soft, but that could just be it being loosely packed, but it also does look very pigmented, and it has a fair bit of kickback in the pan. So just tapping it off, get my hair out the way, we're going to go ahead and bronze up the skin with this. So it is actually a true bronzing shade. It's kind of warm and golden, but I definitely think that this might be a very nice powder foundation. Since I did that Essence one, I'm actually really into it. I didn't realize how much I would like a powder foundation. This isn't really a contour shade, but I'm just slightly contouring my nose. I really like that. The lighting's a bit weird, so you can't exactly see it, but it does look really gorgeous on the skin. So I didn't get any blush from them. I didn't see anything that jumped out at me or something that I didn't already have, like color-wise or shade-wise. So I didn't pick up a blush, highlighter, or an eyeshadow primer or lips, any lip products. So I'm going to go ahead and jump off camera, put on some blush, some highlighter, some lipstick, and then we'll go ahead and move on to the eyeshadow, which is the last product we'll be doing today. I'm looking a bit strange now because I have my whole face done and not my eyes, but I'm going to go ahead and just spritz my face once more just to lock everything in. Now let's go ahead and move on to the final product of today. So here we have the Smudge 15 color eyeshadow in the shade, or in the colorway Warrior. This is described as providing a radiant color with a dewy finish. The mix of satin and shimmery hues creates dynamic dimension on the eyelid. The creamy powder texture offers a lightweight, smooth feel on the skin. So when I did swatch them, they did feel fairly creamy, but what I've realized is sometimes that is because it's so loosely packed in the pan, so lots of kickback, but it didn't look particularly pigmented, but it also didn't look see-through. So let's go ahead and create something. So what I was thinking is to use like the purple and red and maybe some of the black and a shimmer on the lid. So I'm going to start off with, I think I'm going to go ahead and use this as my transition shade. So I'm going to pick it up on a big fluffy brush. We're just going to pop that through the crease or the socket, depending what you have. I have hooded eyes. So just lightly wash that color over. And I'm going to extend it as always. It just works best for my eye shape. It does seem fairly dry in my opinion, but it is fairly affordable. Actually, I think it was like 100 Rand. You can get one from Essence for the same price. So hopefully this quality is okay. Next, taking a slightly smaller, you'll see the difference. It's just a slightly smaller blending brush. And I am going to dip into this purpley shade or magenta, whatever you want to call it over here. It also picks up once again pretty well. But again, a lot of kick up. And this I'm going to place also in the crease, but just slightly lower and blending into the brown shade. So right over here. Okay, it translates a much pinker on the eye. That purpley hue is non-existent. But it could be because we mixed it with that light brown. Next, I'm just going to take a slightly denser eyeshadow brush and I'm going to dip into this cranberry tone over here. And it does have like some shimmer running through, so I'm assuming that's one of the satin shades that they were speaking of. And this I'm just going to put on the outer corner. I am getting a bit of fallout, but nothing too crazy. I'm also going to take this cranberry shade and just to the outer corners of my lash line. And then I'm going to do something a little bit different, and I'm going to what brush should I use? Then I'm going to just dip into the black over here. I actually need a much smaller brush. Give me a second. I'm just going to take a pencil brush and dip into this black over here, being careful not to pick up too much pigment. And I'm just going to focus this close to the lash line, but once again at a bit of a diagonal. Then taking the cranberry shade, I'm just going to intensify it a little bit more over that black, and that's just going to darken up the color slightly, just like that. So it just has a little bit more dimension. Then we're going to go ahead and take this shimmer over here. It's like a goldy shade, and I'm going to pick that up with my finger. It doesn't feel very nice, to be honest, and it doesn't pick up too good either. And that we're going to fill in the rest of the lid with. My finger isn't doing it justice, and normally it would. So I'm going to just grab a small shader brush, and I'm going to pick some of that up like that, and then I'm just going to spritz it Let's see if that makes any difference. I definitely say that the shimmers are way too powdery to pack a punch. And then lastly, for an inner corner highlight, I'm going to go with the other rose goldy, the rose goldy shade over here, which is like another shimmer, and pop that on the inner corner, just like that. So then I'm just going to jump off camera and do some liner and mascara, and then I'll come back and give you my final thoughts. So guys, this is the finished look. So unfortunately, I have to say that the majority of this is not good. The eyeshadow is like, I have glitter everywhere because of all the fallout. So the eyeshadow was the biggest disappointment of the day, 100% as always. Eyeshadows sometimes are, it just makes or breaks a brand, I guess. But this so far is really bad. I'll try some other colors maybe over on my TikTok, so please go follow me over there. Same name as it is here, but for now I think this is really, really bad. The banana powder is horrible. It is so drying on my skin. It feels nice and velvety, but for some reasons it's now sunken into my pores and completely separated on my nose. So I'll just give you a closer look. Even my under eyes, they look absolutely terrible. Like it's aged me 10 years. Look at the eye look up close as well. Like I achieved basically nothing. It's probably one of the worst eye looks I've ever done. But other than that, that's it from me, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I did ramble quite a bit, but I haven't done like a makeup video for a while. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.